I can't do this anymore, Ethan. Her voice cracked, but her eyes didn't. Samantha stood by the kitchen counter, the glow from my laptop screen flickering across her face. Bills were scattered beside her purse, half open, unpaid. What do you mean? I asked, though I already knew. She sighed like she'd practiced this. You keep saying things will get better, but they don't. You're chasing something that's never going to happen. I looked at the screen, my rejected pitch email glowing like a scar. I just need more time. You know how startups are... Startups? She laughed bitterly. You've been saying that for 3 years. I'm tired of living off noodles and promises. Her words cut deep. I tried to keep my voice steady. So that's it? You're leaving because I'm broke? She hesitated, then reached for her bag. Because you're stuck, Ethan. You dream too much. You talk about success like it's a fairy tale. But some of us live in the real world. I stood there, gripping the edge of the table so tight my knuckles turned white. I thought you believed in me. I did, she said softly. Until I realized belief doesn't pay rent. I took a breath, trying to swallow the lump in my throat. You once said you'd stay no matter what. That was before Ryan offered me a job, she whispered. The name hit me like a punch. Ryan Hale? You're kidding, she looked down. He believes in me. He has connections. He can give me the life I deserve. The life you deserve, I repeated slowly, every syllable burning. And what about the life we built? The nights you said you were proud of me? Were those lies too? Her silence was louder than her words. I'm sorry, Ethan, she said finally, but you'll never be successful. You just don't have it in you. My chest tightened. For a moment, I couldn't even breathe. I watched her walk toward the door, her heels clicking on the old wooden floor we'd painted together. Sam, I called out. If you walk out that door, don't ever come back. She paused for half a second. You won't have to worry about that. And then she was gone. Through the window, I saw the headlights of Ryan's black car waiting by the curb. She opened the door, smiled like she'd already forgotten me, and disappeared into his world of glass offices and expensive lies. The silence that followed felt heavier than heartbreak. It felt like failure itself. I sat on the couch, staring at the laptop screen. The rejection email glared back at me. We appreciate your submission, but your proposal does not align with our funding goals. Didn't align. Neither did my life anymore. A knock sounded on the door 20 minutes later. I didn't move. Ethan? Liam's voice came through. You alive in there? I opened the door just enough to see his face, tired, sympathetic. He took one look at me and said, She's gone, huh? I nodded. She left with Ryan. He stepped inside, scanning the mess. Pizza boxes, unpaid bills, a broken coffee mug. Man, she doesn't deserve you. I laughed weakly. Maybe she does. She wanted success. I gave her dreams. Liam shook his head. You gave her loyalty. She traded it for comfort. That's on her. I sank onto the couch. She said I'll never be successful. He leaned against the wall, crossing his arms. Then prove her wrong. I looked up. Easier said than done? No, he said firmly. Easier done than said. You're too damn smart to stay on the floor. She left, fine. But don't let her words live rent-free in your head. I stared at the flickering screen again. My unfinished code blinked like a heartbeat refusing to die. What if she's right? She's not, he said. But even if she was, you'll still make it, because you're not doing this for her anymore. His words lingered long after he left. That night, I sat alone at the kitchen table, listening to the hum of the fridge and the city outside. Every sound felt sharper, every memory heavier. I remembered her laugh, her perfume, the way she used to call me dreamer with love in her voice. Now it sounded like an insult. I opened a new document and stared at the blinking cursor. My hands trembled as I started typing. New code, new ideas, new anger fueling every keystroke. Hours passed. When I looked up, dawn had broken through the blinds. My eyes burned, but my chest felt lighter. I whispered to myself, You'll never be successful, huh? A smile tugged at the corner of my mouth. We'll see about that. Outside, the city came alive again. Cars, people, noise. Somewhere out there, she was waking up in another man's apartment, believing she'd traded up. But deep down, I knew something she didn't. People like her win fast. People like me win last, and when we do, we never lose again. Ethan, we need to talk. My manager's tone already told me what was coming. I stood in front of his desk, my stomach twisting. He didn't even look me in the eye. "We're letting you go," I blinked. "What? Why?" "My project's almost finished." "It's not about your work," he interrupted. "It's political." Ryan Hale called the board last night. "He's made some accusations." My chest tightened. "Accusations? About what?" He finally met my eyes, looking uncomfortable. "That you stole company code? That you tried to start your own software using insider data?" I laughed bitterly. "That's insane." "He's lying. I believe you," he said softly. "But the board doesn't. His influence runs deep." "So that's it? I lose my job because her new boyfriend wants to ruin me?" He didn't respond. Just slid the termination paper across the table. "I'm sorry, Ethan." I walked out without signing it. The walls felt like they were closing in. My hands trembled as I hit the elevator button. The reflection staring back at me in the mirror wasn't the man I knew. It was someone smaller, crushed. By the time I reached home, my phone buzzed with messages. Liam's was the first. "Heard what happened." "You okay?" I stared at the screen before typing back. "No, but I will be." The next weeks blurred together. Applications, rejections, silence. I sent out 20 resumes a day and got 20 polite no's. Every time my inbox dinged, my heart raced, only to crash again. One night, sitting in a cafe that was about to close, I opened yet another rejection email. "We regret to inform you," I laughed to myself. "Yeah, I bet you do," the barista called out. "You okay, man?" "Define okay," I said, sipping my cold coffee. My laptop screen flickered. Code filled the monitor, a half-finished project I'd been working on for months. My dream app. The one that could have changed everything, if I still believed in myself. Liam showed up, tossing his backpack on the chair across from me. "Still here? Where else would I go?" I muttered. He looked at my screen. "You're still building it." "I don't know why," I said. "No one's ever going to see it." "Then make them see it," he shot back. "You're acting like Ryan killed your career." "He did," I snapped. "He took everything. My job, my reputation, Samantha." "Forget them," Liam said. "You can't change what they did, but you can make sure they regret it." I leaned back, exhausted. "How? I can't even pay rent," he smirked. "Then crash at my place. Free Wi-Fi, bad coffee, no judgment." I chuckled weakly. "You're an idiot." "Yeah," he said. "But I'm your idiot." A month later, we were living off ramen and caffeine in his apartment, coding day and night. The air smelled like burned circuits in frustration. "Liam," I groaned, "this is pointless. No investor's going to look at two broke guys with a dream." "That's where you're wrong," a new voice said. We turned to see an older man standing by the door. Gray hair, expensive watch, sharp eyes. He'd overheard us at the cafe downstairs and followed us up. "Who are you?" I asked cautiously. "Mason Gray," he said, handing me a card. "I invest in people who are too angry to quit." I blinked. "That's specific," he smiled faintly. "Because that anger builds empires if you let it." Liam shot me a look. "This guy might be crazy, but I like him." Mason walked closer, eyeing our setup. "What's the project?" I hesitated, then showed him the prototype. "It's a predictive AI tool that analyzes emotional tone in writing. Helps creators and marketers understand audience reactions." He studied the code. "You built this yourself?" "With Liam," I said. "It's still rough." "It's brilliant," Mason said quietly. "Rough edges are fine. I care about vision and pain." "You've got both," I frowned. "Why pain?" He looked at me like he saw through everything. "Because pain's the fire that forges real creators." "You've been burned, haven't you?" I laughed dryly. "You have no idea." "I do," he said. "I lost everything once too, but I built it all back with people who refused to stay broken." Liam leaned forward. "So what are you saying?" "I'm saying," Mason replied, "I want in. I'll fund your project, but only if you promise to finish it." I stared at him, unsure if I was dreaming. "You don't even know me." "I know enough," he said. "You're desperate." Desperation is fuel. Something flickered inside me then. A spark I thought was gone. "All right," I said. "Let's build it." Mason extended his hand. "Welcome to your second chance." That night, when Mason left, Liam slapped my shoulder. "You realize what just happened?" I nodded slowly, staring at the glowing screen. "Yeah, we just got our shot," he grinned. "And you're smiling again." "That's new." I typed a few lines of code and whispered, "Pain builds empires if you let it." Liam raised his coffee cup. "Then let's build one." Hours passed in silence, the keys clicking like a heartbeat. My inbox pinged just before dawn. A new message. I stood in front of the mirrored glass of my office window, watching the city lights blur into a sea of gold. 2 years ago, I could barely afford a coffee. Now my name was etched into the skyline. Nextverse Technologies, the company that everyone wanted to work for, and the name Samantha said I'd never build. "Ethan?" Grace's voice cut through my thoughts. She peeked in, tablet in hand. "You've got another interview request. Channel 7. The reporter's name is Claire Jensen." I turned from the window, the faintest smile tugging at my lips. "Claire Jensen?" Grace nodded. "Yeah, the same one who called your startup a public failure of ambition. Did she?" I asked, pretending to think. "I remember that headline. It aged beautifully," Grace chuckled. "Should I schedule it?" "Do it," I said. "Let her see what failure looks like when it fights back." She grinned and stepped out, leaving me alone with the hum of the city. My reflection stared back at me. Sharp suit, calm eyes, no trace of the broke dreamer who watched Samantha walk out. Success had rewritten my expression into something colder. Liam barged in without knocking. He never changed. "Dude, the numbers came in. 30% growth this quarter. We're on fire." "That's good," I said, sliding my hands into my pockets. "We keep pushing," he stared at me. "You used to smile when things went right. Now you sound like a machine." "I don't have time to celebrate." "Not yet. Still thinking about her?" I gave him a look. "I stopped thinking about her the day I signed my first investor check." He raised a brow. "You mean the day Mason Gray took a chance on you?" "Yeah, I remember. You looked like a ghost back then." "I was one," I said quietly. "She killed the part of me that needed validation." "What's left only needs results," Liam sighed, half amused. "You're dangerous when you talk like that." "I'm dangerous when I'm quiet," I replied. He laughed and shook his head. "You should trademark that line." Grace returned, tapping her tablet. "Interview confirmed for tomorrow. Claire's team will arrive at 10. "Perfect," I nodded. "Let's give them a story they can't twist." After they left, I sat behind my desk. The office was silent except for the faint ticking of the clock. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling lights. For the first time that day, I let the mask slip. The power felt good, too good, but beneath it was something hollow. Nights were quieter now, emptier. Success filled every room, but not the silence. My phone buzzed with a notification. Trending, Ryan Hale under investigation for corporate fraud. I stared at the headline. Ryan Hale, her new savior, the man she left me for. I clicked the article. Investors withdraw. Board members resign. Company on verge of collapse. I leaned back, exhaling slowly. "Karma doesn't need an audience," I murmured. Liam burst back in a few minutes later, waving his phone. "Did you see it? Ryan's empire is falling apart." "I saw. This is poetic. He blacklisted you, destroyed your career, and now, boom, he's toast. Let it burn," I said softly. "We don't touch it. We watch," he blinked. "You're not even happy about it?" "I'm not 16, Liam. Revenge isn't supposed to make you dance, it's supposed to make you think." He frowned. "You sound like Mason." "Mason taught me one thing," I said, my voice low. "You don't chase victory. You become it." Grace's voice came over the intercom. "Ethan, your car's ready." "Thanks," I said, standing up. "Cancel the dinner meeting." "I need a drive." Outside, the air was cool, sharp against my skin. The city glowed beneath me as I rode through the downtown streets. Every billboard, every ad with my company's name on it felt like a quiet scream back at the ghosts who once laughed at me. When I pulled up at my penthouse, I checked my messages. There was one unread text. From an unknown number. I saw the news. "I'm sorry," my chest tightened. I didn't need to guess who it was. Samantha. I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over the reply button. For a long moment, I said nothing. Then I typed 2 words and deleted them. Instead, I locked the phone, tossed it on the counter, and poured a glass of water. Liam's voice echoed in my head. "You used to smile." Maybe he was right. Maybe success wasn't meant to heal. Maybe it was meant to remind you why you bled in the first place. I looked out over the skyline again, lights flickering like distant stars. "You said I'd never make it," I whispered. "Now you're watching from the ground." The silence answered for her, and I smiled for the first time that night, not out of joy, but out of peace. Grace stood in the doorway, clutching a folder like it was radioactive. "Sir," she said carefully, "you should probably see this." I looked up from my laptop. "What is it? Another investor proposal?" She shook her head and walked closer, setting the folder on my desk. "A job application. Marketing position," I raised a brow. "And you're telling me because?" Her eyes flickered with something like hesitation. "Because of the name." I flipped the folder open. My eyes froze on the first line. Applicant, Samantha Reeves. For a second, I thought it was a joke. I almost laughed. "You've got to be kidding me." "I triple-checked," Grace said. "That's her resume." I leaned back in my chair, flipping through the pages. Short stints at small firms. Failed startups. No references worth noting. The mighty had fallen, and fallen hard. Grace spoke softly. "Do you want me to decline the interview?" I stared at the paper a moment longer, the word seeking stability and growth opportunity burning into my vision. "No," I said finally. "Schedule it," her eyebrows shot up. "Are you sure?" "Completely," I said. "If she wants to walk back into my world, I'll hold the door open myself." Grace hesitated, then nodded. "She's meeting with Olivia in 20 minutes. I stood up, straightening my jacket. "Perfect. I'll drop by." When I walked into the HR room, the air felt heavier. Olivia looked up surprised. "Oh, Mr. Cole, we didn't expect you." "I like to meet potential hires personally," I said casually, my eyes already on her. Samantha turned slowly in her chair. Her breath caught the moment she saw me. "Ethan?" It was her voice, same tone, same soft hesitation, but stripped of arrogance. "Welcome to Next Verse," I said, my tone even, almost detached. "Please, have a seat," she blinked, clearly shaken. I didn't realize this was your company," I figured. I took the chair across from her. It's funny how paths cross again, isn't it? Olivia glanced between us, clearly sensing tension.
"Should I?" "It's fine," I said.
"Stay." Samantha tried to gather herself. "I've heard about your success." "Next Verse is everywhere. So you have heard of us," I said. "That's nice to know," she looked down. "I know this must be awkward. I just need a chance to work again." "Awkward?" I repeated. "Not at all. I appreciate determination." Her eyes flicked to mine, searching for the man she used to know. "You've changed." "I had to," I said. "Survival tends to do that. I didn't mean to leave me?" I cut in softly. "Or to tell me I'd never be successful." She flinched. "Ethan, I was scared. You had nothing. Ryan offered stability, and now he has nothing," I finished. I read the headlines, her lips trembled. "He ruined everything. He lied to everyone, including me." "Poetic," I murmured. "You traded dreams for comfort, and he sold you both." Olivia cleared her throat, uncomfortable. "Mr. Cole, should we proceed with the interview?" "Yes," I said calmly. "Let's." Samantha tried to straighten her papers, but her hands were shaking. "I have experience managing campaigns, coordinating launches. I see that," I interrupted, flipping through her resume. 3 jobs in 2 years, each ending after less than 6 months. "Why is that?" Her voice cracked slightly. "Bad timing. Wrong teams. I've been trying to rebuild." "Rebuild," I echoed. "That's a strong word." "I know a thing or two about rebuilding." Her eyes softened. "I know you do." Silence stretched. I could feel the weight of every unsaid word between us. She finally whispered, "Ethan, I'm sorry." "I really am." I looked at her, expression unreadable. "You don't owe me apologies. The world already handled that for you." Her shoulders sank. "Please don't hate me." "I don't," I said quietly. "Hate requires energy. I've learned to invest mine better." Olivia shifted awkwardly. "So should we consider her for the position?" I smiled faintly. "We'll review her application like anyone else. Fairly." Samantha's voice was barely audible. "You'd actually consider hiring me?" "Next Verse believes in giving people second chances," I said, my gaze steady. "Sometimes those chances remind us why the first one mattered." Her eyes glistened. "You've really changed." "I had to become the man you said I couldn't," I replied. "And I did." Olivia stood, gathering her notes. "That concludes the interview." Samantha rose slowly, clutching her bag. "Thank you for your time, Mr. Cole." I nodded once. "Good luck, Ms. Reeves." When she walked out, I turned to the glass wall of the HR office. My reflection stared back, calm and composed, but I could feel the tremor inside me, the old ache, long buried, whispering that this was closure. Grace met me outside. "How did it go?" "She's different," I said. "And you?" I smiled faintly. "Exactly the same. Just colder." Grace hesitated. "Will you hire her?" I looked back toward the hallway where Samantha had disappeared. "No," I said softly. "But I wanted her to see it, all of it. Every wall, every success, every breath of what she said I'd never build." Grace nodded slowly. "Poetic justice." I exhaled, finally letting my shoulders relax. "No, just balance." The city glimmered beyond the windows, reflecting in the glass like a quiet promise kept. The second time Samantha walked into my office, the air was heavy, thick with everything unsaid between us. "Ethan," she began, voice trembling. I need to explain." I didn't move. "Go ahead." Her hands shook as she set a folder on the desk. "Ryan, he took everything. My savings, the company I was trying to build, he left me with nothing." You mean the man you left me for?" I said quietly. "Turned out to be a con artist?" Her eyes filled with tears. "Yes, and I realized after all this time that I made a mistake. I lost sight of us, of what we had. I wanted to feel something, anything. But all I felt was the calm that came from years of rebuilding." My chest ached faintly, but I didn't show it. I leaned back, crossing my arms. "I see. I'm not the same person," she continued, her voice breaking. "I've changed. I regret everything." The old ache, long buried, stirred in me. Memories of laughter, of dreams shared in our tiny apartment clawed at my chest. For a second, I considered forgiveness. But then I remembered every rejection, every sleepless night, every time Ryan's shadow loomed over me after she left. The bitterness that had fueled my rise surged again, steady and controlled. She faltered. "I just want another chance. Please, Ethan, in life, at work, anywhere. I'll prove I've changed." I studied her carefully. The woman who once laughed at my ambitions now stood broken, desperate, but still expecting my mercy. I shook my head slowly. Samantha, her breath caught. "Yes?" "I don't hire people," I said softly, "who once thought I wasn't enough." Her face fell, and for the first time I saw the disbelief. The humiliation mirrored in her eyes, the same humiliation I felt when she left. She opened her mouth, then closed it. No words could change the truth she now faced. Grace knocked lightly, poking her head in. "Ethan, your 2-wow meeting is ready, and the client from New York just confirmed." I looked back at Samantha. "See? Life doesn't pause for apologies. People move on, whether you like it or not." Her lips quivered, but she nodded faintly. "I understand. I hope you do," I said, standing. "Because everything you wanted, everything you abandoned, I found it." "All of it," she swallowed hard. "You're successful," she whispered, voice barely audible. "Even without me," I offered a faint, polite nod. "Success isn't measured by who stays, Samantha. It's measured by what you rebuild after the world walks away." Her eyes dropped to the floor. "I'm sorry for everything, truly." "Apologies aren't currency here," I said. "Actions are. You'll have to live with your choices." Grace stepped fully into the room. "Ethan, we're set for the client meeting. Should I prep the team?" "Yes," I replied. "Go ahead, and make sure they know I'll be there in 10. Samantha's gaze followed Grace as she left. The realization hit her then, heavy and undeniable. She'd been replaced, professionally, emotionally, completely. The empire she once mocked now existed without her permission, without her influence. I watched her struggle to process it, silent and steady. "You can leave now," I said finally. "There's nothing more to discuss." She stood slowly, clutching the chair for balance. "I hope one day you can forgive me." I shook my head slightly. "I don't need forgiveness. I needed you gone. And now that you are, I can see clearly." Her shoulders slumped. I guess I lost more than I realized." "You did," I confirmed. "And I found it all. Every dream, every opportunity, every part of me you once doubted. I found it, Samantha. And it's mine to keep." Her eyes glistened with tears she tried to blink away. You're better than I ever imagined." I smiled faintly, calm and untouchable. "I had to be. For me, not for anyone else." She nodded, her chest heaving slightly. "I won't forget this." "Good," I said. "Let that memory remind you of the choices you made." She turned and walked out, head low, the quiet click of the door echoing like a verdict. I sank into my chair, finally letting a breath escape. The emptiness she left behind wasn't lonely. It was space for everything I had built since that night she walked out. Grace returned, smiling faintly.
She left. Yes, I said softly, staring at the empty hallway.
And everything she abandoned I found. I leaned back, hands clasped behind my head, and whispered, more to myself than anyone else, every loss she caused became my gain. Silence filled the office. I felt the power of what I had rebuilt, the quiet satisfaction of seeing the past walk in and leave empty-handed. I was stepping out of my office when I noticed her. Samantha. Standing across the street, her coat pulled tight, watching as photographers snapped my picture for a magazine cover. She looked small, fragile, out of place in the chaos around her. My phone buzzed. Liam. I answered. Yeah, dude, he said, laughter in his voice. You see her? Karma's beautiful, huh? I glanced at her again. She didn't notice me, completely absorbed in the scene. Yeah, I said softly.
Beautiful in a quiet way.
Quiet, he repeated. I'm talking full-on poetic justice here. I don't feel joy, I said, cutting him off gently. I feel peace. That's all. Liam was silent for a moment. Man, peace? That's new for you. It's enough, I replied. Enough to know I've built my life on what I chose, not what she abandoned. He laughed. Fair enough. I'll let you enjoy your zen. I hung up, staring at Samantha's diminishing figure. My chest felt light, unburdened. I wasn't gloating and I wasn't sad. I was free. Later that evening, I arrived at the charity gala. The room glittered with chandeliers, the soft hum of conversation and clinking glasses filling the space. I greeted a few familiar faces, then found myself drawn to the balcony overlooking the city. She made it, someone said beside me. I turned to see a woman smiling, warm, confident, eyes that didn't judge. I'm Ava, she said, extending her hand. Ethan, I replied, shaking her hand. The warmth in her grip was immediate, grounding. We moved inside, finding a quieter corner. She asked about my company, my work, and I talked. Not to impress, not to prove anything, but simply to share. You've built an empire, she said, genuinely impressed. And still you seem calm, I chuckled. It's taken time. I used to chase things I couldn't control. Now I focus on what I can. She tilted her head. That sounds peaceful. It is, I said softly, realizing it was true. Peace, not revenge, was the point. We laughed, shared stories, and for the first time in years, I forgot about the old ache. Samantha's shadow didn't hover anymore. The memory of betrayal felt like a faded photograph, edges curled, colors dimmed, but it had taught me everything. You travel a lot, Ava said. Yes, I replied, but now I travel with purpose. No longer following anyone's script but my own. She smiled, her eyes bright. That's rare. It's necessary, I admitted. You can't build the life you want if you're stuck looking at the past. The gala ended, and the crowd thinned. I walked back to my apartment, Ava's laughter echoing faintly in my mind. It was genuine, effortless, everything I hadn't realized I'd been missing. I stepped onto my balcony, leaning against the railing. Below, the city stretched out like a sea of lights, each one reflecting my journey, my choices, my victories. I whispered to myself, letting the words settle. She said I'd never make it. But I did. The wind brushed my face, soft and cool. I closed my eyes for a moment, breathing in the quiet freedom I'd fought so hard to claim. No anger, no longing, no regret. Just the steady beat of my own life. Mine entirely. Somewhere across town, Samantha disappeared into the night, a reminder of what I had survived. I didn't feel triumph, didn't even think about her. The only thing that mattered was the warmth in my chest, the clarity in my mind, and the path ahead, wide open and unshakable. Ava's voice came softly from behind. You're quiet out here. I'm just appreciating it, I said, smiling without pride. The moment, the view, the life I've earned, she nodded. It suits you? I suppose it does, I admitted. After everything, I finally understand. Revenge isn't the point. Freedom is, she laughed softly. And it looks good on you. I laughed with her, light and unburdened. The city shimmered below, and I knew that nothing from the past could touch me anymore. I whispered again, just for myself, a quiet affirmation. She said I'd never make it. But I did.